Broadcasting live. It's America's longest running talk show on computers. It's Computer America, bringing you the biggest names in technology with guest interviews, new products, and your emails. Listen live at computeramerica.com on any device around the world. Email the show at live@computeramerica.com or find us on social media. Be sure to check out our website for contests, giveaways, show notes, live video stream, podcasts, and more. You're listening to Computer America.
Hello and welcome everyone into the Computer America Show. We are the nation's longest running nationally syndicated radio talk show on computers and technology turned podcast. Everyone, welcome into the program. I hope that you're doing well and you are ready for today's show. Because you may have guessed, on this fantastic Friday, we have the one, the only Mr. Ralph Bond. He'll be joining us here in just a moment as we talk about a number of very fun and innovative stories. Ones that, you may have heard the trend, but these are all new research, all new stories that probably haven't been picked up because, let's face it, this past week, horrible, terrible news. But we are fortunately not here to discuss all of that. We're here to discuss some more fun stuff. And with that being said, let's go ahead and just say computeramerica.com. That's where you'll find everything, including today's show notes, which will have links, which will have pictures, which will have video. It will have everything that you need to understand what it is that we're talking about. It will also have, we have a section on Computer America right at the top. You click Ralph Bond, and it'll have all of his segments, past, present, and future, right there nestled in there. So with that being said, why don't we go ahead and just bring Ralph Bond on and get the show started. So once again, he is our science and tech trends correspondent and longtime contributor to Computer America. And Ralph, welcome back onto Computer America. How you been?
Doing great, and it's great to have the last show for 2025 as we'll take a break next week. And I'm just so happy to be here, and it's been a wonderful year in technology. But for people who are just tuning into us for the first time, whether you're listening to us a podcast or on the YouTube feed, let me explain what happens here every Friday. What Ben and I do each Friday is highlight 4 articles that show us key trends and developments in a wide range of things. Of course, artificial intelligence, that seems to be in everything anyway, but robotics, medical technology, sustainable energy technology, transportation advances, agricultural tech, construction technology, space research, physics, on and on and on, you name it. But here's the deal, as Ben alluded to, most important of all, we are going to give you hope for a better future thanks to the amazing breakthroughs happening every day in the world of science and technology.
Absolutely. And for those who are watching the video portion, we'll have all the stories up there that you can see, and we'll click through the videos and stuff. For those who are simply listening, we'll do our best. But Ralph, I think we'll start with story number 1, and this is it's for anyone out there who's looking for gift ideas. By the way, there's always a standby. Actually, Ralph, you know which one I've actually heard a lot of people talking about getting is rechargeable hand warmers.
Yes.
That's something that a lot of people are really kind of gravitating towards. I guess battery technology has gotten a little bit better. They're more efficient. They last longer.
Yes.
And, they don't have all, the little chemical packets. No, they're rechargeable. So.
Exactly. No, that's a great gift item. And I also saw one on Amazon. It's like a shoulder wrap around your neck, but also your shoulder that's also rechargeable that keeps you warm and so forth. Great for therapy if you have neck issues and so forth. But anyway.
Right. Well, I say that because the other standby gift idea for the holidays, for the tech person in your life, there are special mittens, gloves that have silver threads kind of lining the fabric so they work with touch phones.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's some, wearables and, that work with, haptic and touch on phones. Well, story number 1 along the same vein, so might be coming to even more things.
That's right. A perfect entry for the first story in our set of 4 for today. This comes from Popular Science. And Ben, you're going to love this one. Headline, new wearable device lets you touch fabric online, read Braille, and more. Voxelite, that's Voxelite, can help you literally feel websites. This is really pretty out there. It's pretty cool. So here we go. A team of engineers from Northwestern University, salute to them, has created an ultra-thin haptic device called Voxelite that wraps around a user's finger. Any finger will work. And remember, haptics refers to technologies that simulate touch sensations through either vibrations, pressure, or motion. So that's what we're talking about here. Now, the fingertip device's grid of round nodes delivers electrical pulses that mimic the natural resolution of human touch, allowing users to feel textures, ridges, and surfaces on digital devices with lifelike accuracy. And folks, this is a good point to stop and say, please come out to computeramerica.com. Check out the show notes. We have the pictures because otherwise, if you're just listening, you have to kind of imagine this in your mind, but you can see the photograph that's in the show notes showing this fingertip. It looks kind of like a Band-Aid, but has this array of dark little dots. And that's what they're talking about in terms of the haptics response technology. Pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, I would say Band-Aid, would be some sort of adhesive bandage, but you're right, it has this grid, but it goes all the way, and just want to make this clear, it goes all the way back back along the finger, so there's a bit more to it as well. But like when you talk about a wearable device, this is about as minimal as I've seen of wearable devices. So
yeah, exactly. It's very non-invasive, and so that's another thing that makes it practical, I think. So smartphone users wearing Voxelite could theoretically scroll over a sweater displayed on an Instagram post and feel the texture of the fabric.
That's trippy.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. And gamers, there you go. Gamers in virtual reality could also use the wearable to sense the tightening tension of a bowstring or the slick surface of a well-lacquered doorknob. The possibilities are endless. And the fingertip wearables developed by Northwestern University engineers open more practical doors as well. In theory, the added sensation of touch in virtual worlds could help people with visual impairments navigate apps more easily. Love that point. And it could also make it possible, this is, drum roll please, great stuff here. It could also make it possible for blind users to feel the sensation of raised braille dots on a touch screen. Feature a blind person going into, I don't know, a bank or any place where you might have informational displays that are going to change. Imagine if they could take their finger and run across the display and feel, quote unquote, virtual braille dots and be able to read. I mean, wow.
So have you ever seen it's kind of like a test or something where they have like a screen and they kind of flash words in front of you, and it's like one word at a time, and you read each word and it changes every time. It's supposed to be like a different way of reading, so you don't have to like move your eyes left and right. It's just like a series of words. I'm imagining that, but like, holding your braille adorned finger to a screen, and it just kind of reading the screen to you by not having to move or scan or anything like that. You just hold it in place and it just reads you the whole screen just by touching your finger to it. Something like that could be possible. It's very, really, when it comes to user accessibility, again, I don't think it's been a while since I've seen something so minimally invasive but so practical. It's really incredible.
Yeah, and that's a great photo you're showing right now. And again, friends, if you're listening to us on podcast, you could see the photo when you come back and do our show today. That line or that extension goes up the fingers. That's all the lead lines going into the system and so forth. Really interesting stuff. Now, back to the show notes. In the show notes, I have some optional side notes, more technical details about how this thing is made and works and so forth. You can come out to the show notes and get into that, but out of respect for time, I'll ask you just to come and check that out later. There's all kinds of great information, but I will pick up on the applications. So, of course, it could be digital shopping, as we mentioned before, enables feeling fabrics or materials before purchase. Navigation apps lets users feel, map contours or terrain. What? And gaming in VR, we mentioned before, adds realism by simulating tactile environments. So check this out. This is a great innovation. Salute to Northwestern University.
I'm actually kind of curious if this will come to like some kind of weird wearable where you could have a game that could use it, and then you sit there still with your keyboard and mouse, but you have it over your, let's say, your mouse finger, and like as you kind of like hover your cursor over something in the game, it kind of gives you the texture on your on your mouse finger of what it is. And that could just be either like a weird kind of like horror game, or I don't know, that would be so strange. But no, it's very, very innovative. The uses to be seen, but still great research. So
fascinating. Yeah,
yep.
Truly fascinating. Think about things like medical training, other things of this nature, all kinds of training purposes where touch is an important part of learning a skill. Maybe this could be helpful there too as well. So wonderful possibilities.
Absolutely. So that's story number 1. Story number 2, we're going to go ahead and come back over here and let's talk about, well, peanuts. Not just the thing of deadly diseases that kill children by the millions, but no, peanuts. And we're going to talk about laser technology. That's 2 things I would not put together, but let's do it.
Yeah, this one is so interesting. And it's a little geeky. So a little forewarning here. This geeks out a little bit, but this comes from bioengineer.org. Bioengineer.org. Headline, couldn't resist this one. Birch leaves and peanuts transformed into cutting-edge laser technology. And the first thing you think is, okay, is this a joke? Is this some kind of weird PhD program to try to test out something wild and crazy? Well, it's pretty interesting. So again, I warn you, this is geeky. We've got links to the research paper, all kinds of things in the show notes, but let's get into this. Physicists at Sweden's, and I'm going to butcher this, I'm sure, Umeå University, working with Chinese collaborators, so this is a multi-international effort, have developed a fully biomaterial-based random laser using birch leaves and peanut kernels. Bear with me, folks. This will all be explained relatively easily. It's still very geeky. So unlike conventional lasers that depend on synthetic, often non-renewable materials, this approach uses renewable, eco-friendly biomaterials, birch leaves and peanut shells. Now, a couple of things to explain. Random lasers, because there's a lot of terms being thrown at you in this article that the authors expect you to know. So I insert a little bit of tutorial. So random lasers. Lasers, are used in biomedical imaging, sensing, secure communications, lighting, and material characterization, thanks to their unique properties like low spatial coherence, flexible emission spectra, and simple fabrication. Again, very geeky, but a random laser relies on disordered structures to scatter light and achieve lasing, Lasing, the scattered light from disordered structures. That's where the peanut shell comes in, as you'll find out here. And another little tutorial insert for my benefit, maybe yours as well. Lasing is the process of a material or device producing coherent light, aka laser light, through stimulated emission of radiation. In simpler terms, it's when a laser is actively generating its beam. So take a breath here. A lot to drink in.
Yeah, no, I and just to really highlight that, I appreciate your side notes, because every time I'm like, random laser, like I've heard of lasers, but not random laser. And then you have a side note, and then I'm like, lasing. And I'm like, lasing, that's what I do every day. But no, that's, no, there's another term for lasing, and not lazying. So yeah, it's, I appreciate the show notes, very comprehensive. So yeah,
yes. Well, they're truly for my benefit, because a lot of times I read these articles and I go, I know there's something really great going on here, but what the heck does that mean?
Yeah.
So going on with the article here, this breakthrough of creating a fully biomaterial-based random laser using birch leaves and peanut kernels demonstrates how everyday natural materials can be transformed into advanced optical devices. So we could get away from synthetic toxic materials to make lasers, and potentially make some forms of lasers with these readily accessible biological or biomaterials, right?
Yeah.
And so
just really reduce the need for, I guess, the engineering of it, and the the need for the non-renewable material makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
Yeah. It does. It's so clever. I mean, thing I always wonder about stories like this, Ben, is how did this ever occur to somebody that, oh, I wonder if the peanuts shells with their kind of surfaces and so forth could do this part of a function of a laser. And, oh, yeah, birch leaves. That's another part. What? Let's explain.
From my very limited understanding of academia and, seeing what my brother did going through his PhD, it's just, this research is amazing research, and all the research that we talk about, Ralph, is amazing research, but it's all research that's based off of thousands of other research projects that are then based on thousands of other research projects. It's just science is built. And, Ralph, as we always say, if it's not this story, it's going to be, if this is not the solution, might be part of a solution. It might be a little bit of everything to make all this work. And this is what we get. We get peanut lasers.
Yeah. And you know what, Ben, as you were speaking, I had a thought, ding, every once in a while, a bulb goes off in my head. I wonder if the researchers asked a big AI large language model, I want to do this, but I want to do it with natural materials. Give me, 10 different ways I could pull this off. And maybe one of the ways was, well, if you take peanut shells and you take birch leaves, you could do this. But to further explain that maybe that's what happened. The article didn't say that, but that could be the case. So here's a little bit about how they made this random laser. The team developed a novel approach utilizing nanometer-sized carbon dots derived from birch leaves, a remarkably straightforward and green synthesis achieved through a single-step pressure cooking method. Wow. Okay. Remember, folks, a nanometer is 1 billionth with a B, billionth of a meter. So these are nanometer-sized carbon dots from birch leaves. Okay, these carbon dots.
I'm wondering, Ralph, if it's a pressure cooker like in a laboratory setting and it's pressure and heat, or if it's a pressure cooker like someone brought in lunch and they're like, "Oh no, your birch leaf fell into my pressure cooker." Oh wait, I don't know.
Yeah. So the thing you want to do there is get out and look at that research paper, which is in the show notes, folks. You can check this out. So going on here, it says these carbon dots from the birch leaves serve as the gain medium that provides the necessary optical amplification. We're giving you just the highlights here, folks. If you want to geek out, get to that research paper. So complementing this, they employed peanut kernels, finely cut into small cubes, whose rugged and irregular surfaces efficiently trap and scatter incident light. Okay. The author of this article and the audience that it's intended for would know, incident light. Of course, I know what. No, I don't know what that is. So here, side note, I inserted incident light is the light that falls onto or strikes a surface before being absorbed, reflected, refracted, or transmitted. It refers to the incoming light rays that interact with an object or medium. There you go. Gotcha. And to wrap this up, the intrinsic microstructure of the peanut kernels, untouched by complex fabrication, meaning they just naturally come this way, creates the disordered scattering environment crucial for the laser's operation. So there's so much more to this story, folks. We've just given you the highlights. Get those show notes. Geek out with the research paper to your heart's content.
I'm just imagining it's like, oh no, the peanuts, they've gone smooth. We need to go refresh the peanuts in the laser. We'll be right back. Like, I don't know what kind of troubleshooting technology is going to need in the future. It's like, oh no, the birch leaves, they've all been withered. We need new birch leaves, and then we can get on with your cancer treatment.
Yeah.
I don't know, but it's really cool to see, just how, Ralph, it's sometimes with technology, it's how do we improve, like, let's say lithium ion batteries. How do we improve this technology? How do we make this better and better and better? But it's always fun to see someone else kind of going back and saying, okay, can we do it completely different? And, hey, AI has really revolutionized that field. But sometimes it also just takes human creativity to put two and two together. So there you go.
Yeah.
Very, very cool. And you can see the peanuts there. Pretty wild. So let's go ahead and continue on story number 3. And let's go ahead and talk about, a rival to, this is Starlink has, Ralph, it's been this thing that a lot of people use. I've seen it in the wild. I've seen people sign up for it when they don't really have another option for internet. Satellite internet has been a thing since I think like the 90s. But to really hit the mainstream, I don't think even Starlink has really hit the mainstream. It was great after Hurricane Helene here in the Carolinas. We saw a lot of them kind of popping up, and Home Depot was selling kits for them. It was actually very cool to kind of see that in a post-emergency situation.
Right.
But it really showed that it's not exactly for mainstream, but when you need it, it's really helpful. It's really cool, and satellite internet really does have a place. But hey, you don't want to put all of your eggs in one basket, is what I'm saying. So while Starlink may have really, renewed interest in satellite internet, hopefully they're not the only one. And that's my clumsy way of introducing story number 3, in that it may not be the only one here soon.
Yeah, exactly right. So this is not so much a brand new technology breakthrough, but more of a kind of marketing trend, if you want to call it that. Very interesting to me, at least. This comes from The Independent, a UK publication. And the headline here is "What You Need to Know About Amazon's New Starlink Rival." So I thought, from a trend point of view, this is interesting. And to your point, Ben, about giving competition in the field of satellite-based internet connectivity. So I think this is a pretty cool story on multiple levels. Mm-hmm. So here we go. Amazon has unveiled, and that was late last month, by the way, its new satellite internet service, Amazon Leo, which was formerly known as Project Kuiper, positioning it, as a direct competitor to SpaceX's Starlink. And I have in the show notes a little side note. Why was it called Project Kuiper? That's kind of interesting. It's named after a famous scientist, so you can check that out if you want to. But going on here, Amazon claims Leo, their new service, offers the world's fastest commercial satellite internet, with its Leo Ultra antenna achieving download speeds of up to 1 gigabits per second. Wow. That's impressive. Yeah. This speed significantly surpasses Starlink's current 200 megabits per second, with a peak of 475 megabits per second. So it's about twice the speed of the best performance of Starlink. That's pretty impressive. And a little side note here, Amazon Leo currently operates only 150 satellites compared to Starlink's approximately 8,500. But a little update. On December, after the article was written, on December 16, this month, of course, Amazon successfully launched 27 new satellites for its Leo service. So there's a lot going on with Amazon, and they are very intent on making this happen.
For sure. And if you're watching the video portion, we kind of have the different tiers here. The different, they have like a small, medium, large, essentially. And the size of the receiver, dictates how much or how the throughput of the internet that you get. So, size does matter when it comes to satellite internet. And, but I mean, they're very, they're very consumer friendly. They're very small, very, easy to handle.
But yeah, that one antenna, what is it, 7 by 7 inches?
Yep.
That's
one
very
7 by 7,
modest.
one's by 11 by 11. Yeah.
I mean, gosh, most of us could easily position even the 11 by 11 antenna. And it looks like is like a miniature tabletop or something. I don't know how
definitely like a kind of a modern coffee table, essentially.
Or end table or something like that. That's what it looks like. So anyway, going back to the story here, Amazon Leo is presently available to a select group of business customers, including Hunt Energy Network, Vanu Inc., and JetBlue. That's probably the name most people would be aware of. With a broader rollout expected next year, meaning 2026. Now, Amazon plans to expand its satellite constellation to 3,236, while SpaceX intends to grow its Starlink network to 12,000 satellites. Ben, you and I've talked a million times in the past about all the stuff surrounding our globe in space, and here we go, more and more and more satellites up there. Wow.
Yeah, space junk was one thing. There's going to be a conversation to be had eventually about, who has the right to kind of block out space. But for now, hey, maybe internet, maybe Amazon can just have the internet, or have space. Just let them have it. I don't know, but still very, very cool. Yeah, and by the way, I didn't realize this. So one of them was like 7 inches squared, the other one was like 11
Yep.
inches squared. The Ultra, the 1 gigabit per second, which is still even by my buried in the ground wired connection, we don't even get 1 gig. That is incredible that they can do this. This thing is 20 inches by 30 inches, and it weighs about 40 pounds. That's a pretty big piece of equipment.
Well, here's what I want to know. Talking about end tables, can I put stuff on it and can it still work?
I promise you don't want to do that. I'm sure having a clear sky and a clear tabletop is pretty important for speed.
Fun stuff, though.
So
very cool.
Yep. And so I hope to see more of this, more internet connection just, from space because, Ralph, we were just talking about, disaster prone areas, for search and recovery. Just, hey, internet everywhere, Ralph. Imagine one day you're, if you know Ralph, like I know Ralph, he'll find himself lost in the middle of the Adirondacks. He'll be hundreds of miles from civilization, and he still needs to be able to post to Computer America. So
of course,
of course. So just having internet everywhere is something that is going to be possible here soon, for better or for worse. So there you go.
There you go.
So story number 4. Let's go ahead and skip on down. And this is also something, if Starlink was something that, Elon Musk has been working on, the other one is, brain chip. And admittedly, that's brain chip interface technology. Right. Not quite what we're talking about, but we are talking about brain chips in story number 4.
Yes, and story number 4, friends, if you're new to the show, typically our last of the 4 stories we highlight each week has something to do with medical technology and science and research and so forth, and this one fits the bill. This comes from newatlas.com, and it's about a trend that we've been seeing a lot, Ben, and that is there's a big push in medical technology to say, how can we treat patients without invasive surgery? Is there a way to do this or that or the other thing and not have to cut people open? And injectable technologies are a key trend to watch in the field of medical technology. And
before we even jump into it, I will just say that if you are prone to conspiracy theories, I've met a couple of you, and some of you are. This is highly advanced research. This is not something that really exists in the wild right now. Because Ralph, I have heard of mind controlling chips being in injectables before in the area of conspiracy theory. So
yeah, exactly right. Oh yes, the belief that the COVID vaccines were injecting things into us and so forth for control.
Yeah. Thanks to Bill Gates and all that. Yeah, of course.
But the headline here is MIT, good old MIT, MIT's injectable brain chips could treat disease without surgery. There's been many other technology stories related to this, injectable therapies and so forth, avoiding surgery. So it's not that that's the first time anyone's ever thought about it. This is just a new step, a new iteration of that trend. And we're going to talk about a spin-off company that's going to be bringing this to market. So let's get into this. There's a video, too, you can see that's in the show notes. So MIT researchers have developed something called circulatronics, like circular and then tronics, circulatronics, a groundbreaking technology that uses injectable brain chips, to treat neurological diseases without surgery. These subcellular wireless devices can cross the blood-brain barrier, we've talked about that before, and self-implant in inflamed brain regions, and once there, deliver precise electrical stimulation when activated by external light. That's a big thing to soak in for a second here. And the circulartronics concept combines electronics with biological transport to implant bioelectronics without invasive surgery. And the motivation is to target neurological disorders like Alzheimer's, depression, multiple sclerosis, brain tumors, and chronic pain. So there's the targets they're motivated by. And let's get into a little bit about how does this work. Subcellular wireless devices are smaller than a blood cell, about 1 billionth I can't believe this. 1 billionth the length of a grain of rice. How do you even fabricate something that tiny?
Yeah,
I don't understand it.
if you're watching the video portion, you can see what look, and they even say it in the caption, not much to look at. They look like little flapjacks. They look like little gray discs.
Yes.
But
Yes.
you can tell that they that they took this with an electron microscope because it's kind of grayed out and washed out if you
There
know
you go.
the style. But yeah, Ralph, I guess that's all it is. That is the subcellular wireless electronic device.
Unbelievable. So
Crazy.
these subcellular wireless devices are made of organic semiconducting polymers and metallic layers, and they're powered wirelessly via near infrared lasers. Talk about lasers again, that penetrate the skull. And they're fused with monocytes, that's immune cells, to cross the blood-brain barrier and naturally migrate to inflamed brain regions. And remember, the blood-brain barrier is like the protective wall for your brain. It's made of tightly packed cells lining the blood vessels in your brain. And it's a filter system. It blocks most dangerous substances, but allows essentials like glucose, brain fuel, to pass through. So that's the blood-brain barrier. And because they attach these devices to these immune cells, the blood-brain barrier allows them to pass through so that they can get to the impacted area of the brain and do their job. And so once the subcellular wireless devices are implanted, they deliver focal neuromodulation, precise electrical stimulation to adjust neuron activity. Okay, this is very geeky, folks, but I think you get the picture.
Yeah, and again, speaking of the picture, you can see it there. They have
yeah,
a nice
there you
little
go.
done up of of the cells actually getting kind of going through the cell, and they're smaller than the blood cells themselves. It's Ralph. It just seems like a natural way to not have to open up the skull, do invasive surgery, and just get those little bit of chips. And I don't. I'm not, and we have some more notes here that we're going to get through, but it's incredible that they can take these very, very simple, I can't even say machines. They're just so simple, and how they're going to use that to kind of activate different parts of the brain and get things going. This is some very interesting research they're doing.
Absolutely. It's just fascinating. And here's a little tribute once again to mice and rats and pigs and other animals that have given their lives to help us. Let's talk about testing of this in mice. So the researchers created inflamed brain regions in mice to simulate disease. Sorry, mice, but we are in your debt. They then injected subcellular wireless devices, cell hybrids, which successfully self-implanted at target sites within 72 hours after injection. And wireless stimulation activated brain cells within 30 micrometers, that's 30 millionths of a meter of the inflamed area, proving highly focused treatment. So it's very focused. And potential applications, to wrap it up here, could revolutionize treatment for 3 billion people worldwide with neurological disorders, may extend beyond the brain to other organs, enabling devices like wireless pacemakers. Future versions may include sensing circuits or synthetic electronic neurons. That's very geeky. Now, a timeline for human use. The MIT spin-off company called Kahira, C-A-H-I-R-A Technologies, will bring this to market, and it aims for clinical trials within 3 years. And commercial availability will take longer due to regulatory approval. So this is early, twinkle in the eye research so far on mice. Stay tuned. I love this as a trend.
It seems like they're just kind of flooding your bloodstream, and hopefully blood that's going to your brain, so not your entire body, but they're flooding your bloodstream with these chips, and then they can activate it using, like you said, the infrared or the near infrared laser,
Right.
And so I was wondering, Ralph, I was like, how do they kind of swim them to where they need to go? I guess they kind of go everywhere in your brain, but they only activate when you have that, that beam that kind of goes there and activates them.
The target's the area in question, right?
So they're kind of everywhere. I guess the one question is, are they okay to be everywhere? The second question is, do they do anything once they're there? So very cool. Within 3 years, I mean, Ralph, you rattled off a number of the different types of diseases: Alzheimer's, depression, multiple sclerosis.
Right.
All of these things very much worth looking into, because I don't think
Absolutely.
anyone can really think that Alzheimer's, is it really that bad? No, it's one of the worst, and
Oh boy, yeah.
and a cure for it is just amazing. So
Yeah.
fingers crossed.
Yes.
Yep, there you go. So story number 4, great medical technology, one that you probably haven't heard of. So that is just a great example of what Ralph does here every Friday, except next Friday. Next Friday, we're having off. Everyone have a great Christmas and
Yes.
have a great New Year, and we'll be back right after New Year. With that being said, though, if you're following along in the show notes, you may notice there's this whole section down here, honorable mentions. And these are stories that are great. We try to keep the show a little bit more condensed for your listening pleasure. Gone are the days of 2-hour, 3-hour Computer Americas. And, here are the days of 30-minute Computer Americas. Well, honorable mentions are stories that you should still know about. You should still hear about. Ralph, it really goes to show that Ralph doesn't just stop at, the first 4 and we're done. Nope. He really goes out and, kind of picks the best. And our honorable mentions are also the best. We just don't have time. So with that being said, Ralph, let's at least give them the headlines. They can come out to computeramerica.com and they can find these at the bottom of the show notes if they wish to find out more. So yeah, let's do it.
Okay, you got it. And this first of 4 honorable mentions, very briefly here, comes from livescience.com. Extremely geeky stuff here, folks. Headline: New semiconductors could allow classical and quantum computing on the same chip thanks to superconductivity breakthrough. Wow. I warn you, very geeky, but also very, very interesting. Our next honorable mention comes from National Geographic. The headline: We took a test drive of NASA's new moon rover candidates. This is a fun story and great image of one of these prototypes.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah, very cool looking device or vehicle, very cool looking. And let's see, the next one here, the third one of our honorable mentions, from Oregon State University. Folks, I live in Hillsboro, Oregon, which is just outside of Portland, Oregon. Oregon State University is south of us, and it's so fun to see something that's local for me. Headline: 3D printing researchers develop fast curing, environmentally friendly concrete substitute. Yay. So this is in the area of construction technology and 3D printing and all kinds of good stuff like that. Fun story. Check it out. And our last of 4 honorable mentions comes from spaceconnect.com.au. This is coming from down under. Researchers test soft robotics exosuit in Adelaide to reduce astronaut muscular fatigue. Again, coming from Australia. How interesting is that? Fun story, a great way to wrap things up and to leave, I hope, everybody feeling hopeful about the future thanks to science and technology.
I think so indeed. And Ralph, I think with that, this has been an amazing, amazing number of stories of people doing incredible work. And yeah, really, as always, just a huge shout out to universities and everything that they do. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, one last time, Computer America will be taking a break on the 26th of December. It's just after Christmas, so it is what it is. But we'll be back on the 2nd, everyone, and then of course, hey, the first week of January, that's always one of the busiest for us because that is CES, and we'll be bringing many stories, many companies that we'll be presenting out there. We'll have here on the show, interviewing them and talking about their products out there. So everyone, thank you so much for tuning in. We'll catch you here next time. Have a great one. See you next time. Bye, everyone.